Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Venus and today I'm going over all of the books that I read in the month of November, starting with 2 DNFs and then working my way up to my favorite book of the month. The first DNF was Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. This is a holiday romance book and I just didn't enjoy it. This book is about 2 adult children of 2 former rock stars and they need to get together to somehow get their parents out of retirement and come back together to, I guess, make music again. And it was just really boring and I realized I probably wasn't going to really care in what direction it was going to go into. And then I also read some reviews that it really wasn't a Christmas romance or it didn't really talk much about holidays, so I DNF'd it. I think I just haven't really been enjoying Tessa Bailey's books lately, so this might be the last one by her that I try to read for a while. The second book I DNF'd is The Holiday Mix-Up by Ginny Baird. This is also a Christmas romance and I just could not get into this book. This is supposedly a retelling of While You Were Sleeping, the movie with Sandra Bullock, which I did enjoy. And this one starts off with Katie, who works in a diner, and she is propositioned by Juan, one of her patrons that's been coming to the diner for about 3 months. He is asking her to come as his date to his family's Christmas party. They're, I guess, harping on him because he's not settled down yet. And she's been obsessing about him for 3 months. So she agrees. She's very excited. And the moment he goes out of the door to leave, he gets hit by a car. He ends up in the ICU. He's in a coma. His whole family's in the hospital. They see her, assume that she's his girlfriend, and bring her to their house. And his brother's there. And of course, Katie and his brother Mateo, I guess, eventually end up developing feelings for each other. They're very attracted to each other initially. And I didn't really like the writing. I could tell where the story was going, and I don't know, it just wasn't done well to me. I was bored, so DNF. So before I talk about my least favorite book of the month, I did do a reread of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And the first time that I read this book, I gave it 3.5 stars. I overall enjoyed it. On reread, I did bump it up to 4 stars. I had a great time with this. We all know what this is about. Dragon training school. There's dragons in it. There's romance. The school environment I really enjoyed. I just had a great time the second time around with this one. It got me very excited to read Iron Flame. And my least favorite book of November is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I was very disappointed in this book. I did a whole reading vlog on it, so I won't spend too much time on my feelings. Definitely check that out if you're interested. I literally cannot stand Violet as main POV. I really hope that changes in the future books. I didn't like her character at all. She was very whiny. She was contradicting herself constantly. Her relationship with Xaden became just super annoying. I didn't like it nearly as much as I did in the first book. The direction that the story went into with all the little side missions that they went on, which ended up meaning very little to the plot of the story, was just, it was too long. This book was too long. The only reason I think I ended up giving it 3 stars on Goodreads, but it's a solid 2.5. I just really liked the ending and I am interested to see the direction it goes in, but I'm not getting super excited for the next one. I'm not a super fan of this series like a lot of people are. I am interested and I'm intrigued, but I was super let down by this one. So my least favorite read of November. The rest of these I would recommend starting. They're no more 2 or 2.5 star reads. We're kind of going into the 3-star range right now. And the next one is You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Toni, Shiloh. I did this. There's 5 books on here that I did for a Christmas romance reading blog, so please check that out if you're interested in a lot of details about the books that I talk about from that vlog. But this one was in the vlog. I gave it 3 stars. It is a Christian romance book. I didn't realize it when I picked it out, but I overall enjoyed it. So this book follows Star. She has just lost her job and she is home for the holidays and initially keeping a secret from her family that she lost her job. And her brother's best friend, Waylon, comes over and kind of tries to keep her company because she has 4 other siblings and she's the youngest, so she's always kind of felt left out. And Waylon's mom passed away and owned a Christmas ornament shop, so he needs some help trying to revamp the shop, and Star works in marketing, so they start spending a lot of time together. It does have some Christmas vibes. I overall enjoyed it. It's very clean and wholesome, so if you're into that, I would highly recommend this one. And it's short, coming in at 186 26 pages. There also is some family drama in this. Star's sister is actually getting engaged to Star's ex-boyfriend. So there's a little bit of family drama with those two sisters. The next book on this list is Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. This was a new thriller that came out this year, and I gave it 3 stars. In this book, we are following Everett and Ruth. They're the two main characters. They live in a small Bible Belt town in Louisiana. Very, very religious. So if you have any triggers or don't like reading books about religion, then I definitely would not check this out because it is a big part of the story. Everything is fire and brimstone. Ruth's parents are very, very strict, and she grew up, you know, going to church. Her father's the pastor, basically runs this town. And Everett is kind of the outcast. They call him like the devil's son, basically. And his father is an alcoholic. I think he was an alcoholic or abusive. And of course, they build a bond together. Ruth is obsessed with the Twilight books, so she kind of hid it and read it in her childhood, or her, I guess, like preteens to teen years, and it becomes a big part of like her thinking and her hopes for, you know, falling in love one day. So in this town, they're afraid of this like supernatural type entity called the Low Man, and when skulls and body parts start being discovered, the town is like on alert. They feel like they've got either a serial killer in the town or some kind of supernatural issue happening. There's town secrets, and Ruth and Everett are both hiding things from each other, and things are revealed. And overall, I did really like this book. I was really enjoying it. It's very atmospheric. I did like the religious aspects of it. And it just got really weird at a certain point where I was like, where are we going with this? And I didn't like that part of it. And the ending, I'm not going to say anything, but I was not a fan of the ending. I was like, what? So I wanted it to go in a different direction. There was actually a part that happened where I was like, oh, yes. And then it didn't happen. So I was like, oh, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good read. I would definitely recommend it, but get it from the library. Don't buy it. The next 3-star read is Bookshops and Bondedust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, one of my most anticipated reads of 2023, and this was a little bit of a letdown for me. Again, I gave it 3 stars. It just didn't have that same like those same feelings and warm and fuzzies and excitement that I got from the first book, and I thought that it would be even more so being set in a bookshop, but it didn't happen that way. So in this book, we're following Viv. She is an orc. She's a mercenary, and while she is with her crew, the Rackham Ravens, she's injured, and they leave her in this little small town to heal while they go out and try to find this necromancer. And while she's healing, she ends up meeting all of the town folks. One of them owns a bookshop, and while she is kind of hanging out in this town, she's getting to know the bookshop owner. She's helping them, I cannot remember their name or what creature they are, but she's helping them kind of get their bookshop in order because she's not getting a lot of patrons. And I did love the moments that they talked, especially the bookshop owner, when she talked about how much she loved books and the feeling she got when she would recommend books. She actually recommends books to Viv to read, and you get little clips of the books that she's reading in this. And there is like a side romance as well, which I just didn't like at all. It was kind of weird and awkward, and it just didn't fit the tone of the story like it did in Legends and Lattes. So I think it's cute. I still love Travis Baldree. Definitely going to still read anything he puts out in this world. The audiobook was fantastic because he narrates it, so I definitely recommend the audiobook. But yeah, I was just a little let down, but I gave it 3 stars, so still overall a pretty good read. Next up is Along Came Holly by Codi Hall. This is the third in, I guess, I don't know if it's a trilogy or a series. The first 2 was Nick and Noelle's Christmas Playlist and There's Something About Mary. I did not read either one of those. So this you can definitely read as, you know, out of order. You just kind of have to get used to them speaking about the other characters from the other books. It took a little bit, but once I got used to it, I was fine. Holly's siblings are Nick from Nick and Noelle's Playlist and Mary from There's Something About Mary. So her siblings are in this. They're all very funny. I love their relationship. So in this book, Holly owns a holiday shop on Main Street in this like very Christmassy town, and her neighbor is the grumpiest owner of a hardware store. He is kind of managing it while his father is kind of dealing with early Alzheimer's. And of course, they bump heads, and it's just funny. They start playing practical jokes on each other. It was cute. I overall enjoyed it. Again, I vlogged this one, so I won't go into too much detail, but this one went into a direction that kind of bored me because one of her siblings is getting ready to get married, and there's like a bachelorette like type getaway where it's co-ed, and they end up like doing games and stuff, and there's like jealousy trope that happens, and I was like, what happened to all the Christmas fun? Like, what are we doing? So it kind of strayed off on that direction for a little bit and lost my interest. So overall, I gave this one 3 stars. Now we are getting into the 4-star range. Did I say I had 2 5-stars this month? I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning, but I had 2 5-stars that I'm very excited about. But first up, we'll talk about some 4-star reads. And that is The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, another book on my Christmas romance vlog. I had a great time with this one. So in this book, we are following Kat. She is like a host of a extreme makeover type reality show, and she's very good at what she does. She's very, very popular. And she wants to come to this town, Mary, Connecticut, and help renovate after a huge hurricane kind of washed out and flooded a lot of the town. This town is very much known for their Christmas festivals and their Christmas traditions. A lot of tourists come through, and she's trying to hurry up and get it done and ready for Christmas. This happens, I want to say, like around the end of October, and the town manager, Noah, is not having it. He does not want her to come in with all of her camera crews and exploit his small town. So he is very against Kat. It's definitely an enemies to lovers trope. He is also a single dad. And I loved their banter. I thought it was very funny. It definitely has Christmas vibes in it. And overall, I really enjoyed it. This is my first Lucy Score book. I DNF'd a Lucy Score book for the fall. It was like a fall book by her, but only because it was a never been kissed trope, which I have no desire to read. So I DNF'd it, but this was my first full book that I finished by her, and I really enjoyed her writing. So I think I'm definitely going to check out other books by her, but if you are looking for a Christmas romance, I highly recommend this one. I enjoyed it. Like I said, they had great banter. There is some steam in this. I gave it like 3 hot peppers out of 5. So if you're not into steam in your romances, maybe skip this one, but overall, I enjoyed it. Next up is One Dark Tower by Rachel Gillig. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved this book, and the second book I'm going to talk about shortly. I think it's going to be a new favorite fantasy series duology of all time for me. I had so much fun reading these. It's very rare that I actually jump right to the second book in a series or trilogy right away, or any kind of series, duology, trilogy, right away. I usually like take a break, but I wanted to read the second one. I had to. So in this book, we are following Elspeth Spindle, and she has a monster living in her head. We are in this town called Blunder, where it's constantly gray. I think this is the perfect time to read this book. It's very gray and atmospheric. I believe it's fall in this book, in the first one, and it just, like, you get all of those vibes. It's very like dark, and like I said, dark and atmospheric, and there's magic in this. So this town Blunder is infected by like this dark magic, and it all started many, many years ago with the Shepherd King. And you're kind of like getting bits and pieces of the history of this town. This evil, like but ignorant spirit that's living in Elspeth's mind is kind of dropping hints of what happened and why they are where they are. There's these like cards that are part of the magic in this world. There's these cards that are played where if you own this card and you tap on it 3 times, like one of them is for vanity, you would kind of become like this super airbrushed, beautiful person that everybody like is obsessed with. But if you keep using this card, that person becomes very cold inside and indifferent. So the magic in this world has a balance. So if you use one of these cards, you could get the flip side of whatever the effect is from this card. And then there's also people living in this world that are infected, and if they are discovered, they are murdered. So a group of people want to get together and get all of the cards. If you gather all of the cards, there is a way to lift this mist, this darkness up from Blunder, and infected people can kind of live normal lives without being hunted. And Elspeth somehow gets tangled up in this, and this is such a good romantasy, because there's romance in this. This is such a good story. I could not put this down. I was obsessed with the characters. I loved the world building, the magic in this, the writing, the pacing, everything worked out for me. I gave it 4.5 stars. Why did I give it 4.5 stars? I think it took me a little bit to kind of understand the magic system and what exactly was living in Elspeth's head, like what is going on. It just took me a little bit to get into it, but other than that, I loved everything about this. I highly recommend this. I don't mean to compare this with Fourth Wing and Rebecca Yarros, but I personally think this is a better romantasy series than that one. Sorry, don't come for me, but that's my opinion. And speaking of the Shepherd King series, we're now going into my 5-star reads, and the first one is Two Twisted Crowns, the second book in this duology. I loved it. I think everything wrapped up perfectly. It went in directions that I wasn't expecting it to, and I can't really talk about obviously what goes on in this book without spoiling the first one, but we're still on that mission to find all of the cards and kind of help cure Blunder from this dark magic that's happening. So many things are revealed, and yeah, it was just so well written. I remember reading it and squealing out loud and being like, oh my God. When you're talking to yourself out loud and like squealing and my family is looking at me like, what is wrong with you while I'm reading this book, then I know it's going to be a good book, or a book that makes me angry. But in this case, it was great. So 5 stars, finally a 5-star read. It's been months. I highly recommend this romantasy duology to anyone who likes romance or fantasy. It's just a great book. Is there steam in this? I think it's mild, maybe 1 to 2 red peppers. I honestly can't remember. It's not like overwhelming or overpowering, and I don't think I needed to like skim it where it became cringy. So I definitely recommend this series. And then my second favorite book, because I think I'm going to have these two pretty neck and neck, but the second favorite book of November for me, and another 5-star read, is The Plight Before Christmas by Kate Stewart, another Christmas romance. You can definitely check out that vlog again to see all of my full reaction, but I loved this book. So in The Plight Before Christmas, we are following Whitney. She is 38 years old. I love that these characters are older, and she just got an announcement during the Christmas holiday party that she did not get the promotion that she was expecting. Her car's broken down. She broke up with her hookup. I mean, she's just having a rough time of it, and she is on her way to visit her family. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee. She's going to Charlotte, North Carolina to visit her family's cottage. It was her grandparents' cottage. They have both passed away, but her family still gathers there every Christmas to celebrate with each other and catch up. She has 2 older siblings that are married with children. They are both absolutely hilarious. This book has close proximity and second chance tropes, which I absolutely love, and it was just perfect. The Christmas vibes from this book are exactly what I was looking for. So it had the Christmas vibes I wanted. It had the quirky family that I love reading about during this time of year. It had romance that was so angsty and perfect. It had humor. I was laughing out loud multiple times, and it had heartwarming moments that had me crying multiple times. So this was just a perfect Christmas romance for me. So how Eli gets in the picture: Whitney's brother owns a company, and he finds out that Eli doesn't have any family to celebrate the holidays with, so he invites him to come to his family's Christmas weekend together. And Eli comes, and of course Whitney is like, what the heck? This is my ex-boyfriend from college. He broke my heart. We dated for 8 years, and then he just left me completely devastated. So much so that her own family had to basically get her back together because she was just a mess afterwards. But her brother didn't realize that this was the same person. They all go along with it. It's fine. Whitney's like, whatever, it's fine. Well, I'm fine. I'll deal with this. And of course, close proximity happens, and apologies and discoveries, shocking discoveries that it went in direction. I was like, what? I was bawling at one point when certain things were revealed, and it was just so good. Please read this if you like Christmas romance books. I definitely recommend it, and don't tell me if you don't like it because it'll hurt my feelings. Just kidding. No, I'm not. Don't tell me. But I definitely recommend it. I had a great time, and yeah, my favorite book of November. Wow, we are into December. Will I read any more 5-star books? I don't know. These two shocked me. So, you know, I guess you just never know. I hope you guys are having a wonderful reading month and a great end of the year. Please let me know in the comments, how was your month of November? What was your favorite book? And did it make your top 10 of 2023? I would love to hear it. Thank you as always for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you next time. See ya.